What is up, everyone, to another episode of the Everyday Purpose Podcast. I'm your host, Felix Bobo. I'm so excited to be bringing another podcast to you today. And guess what? I have a surprise for you guys. Today, we got none other than my good friend, the producer. Let's give it up for Rob. Come on, let's give him a big family welcome.
I'm on camera. Oh, my gosh.
You know, he kind of confronted me, right? We were packing up one day, and he was like, yo, when I'm going to get on the Purpose Podcast, I was like, Rob, you are? He's like, no, when I'm going to get on the camera. And I said, I guess now, Rob. So we came up.
Story.
Oh, man, so good to finally have you on.
Oh, yeah.
I know your mama's going to be proud. She's probably going to be sharing this out with everybody. Your mom, no, seriously, like your mom is awesome. She really is.
She's your number one fan, man.
She really is. Cause like she texts me and she was just like, hey, praying for you in the podcast today. Go out there and do a great job. I was like, thank you. Like, you know what I mean? Like I was just like,
this morning?
Yeah, I woke up with like a little bit more purpose. I was just like, let's make it happen, you know? And every podcast, she's always the first one to message me and just like, love the podcast or, you know, loved your message last Wednesday or whatever it was. Like thank you so much.
Because I'm on her about it.
Man, like, and it started back, and people don't believe it's like you're editing the videos in your bedroom, you know what I mean? And I think you would share them with your mom and be like, hey, mom, does this look good?
At the time, it was like, hey, this is my first, like, big chance here, mom. Does this look legit or not?
Yeah,
you know?
Hey, mother knows best.
Yeah,
mother knows
basically.
best. But I really want to get on today, you know, for us to converse, because the thing is we have these conversations a lot of times off camera, you know, and I think that sometimes I wish we had the mic with us or could be able to record, because a lot of these conversations that we're having, I truly believe that people can really gain a lot of value from.
Yeah.
And it's not going to change, because I think that part of what we're doing with this podcast is not just telling people about their purpose, but there's a process to your purpose. I mean, that is like kind of like the whole mantra of what this podcast is all about, helping individuals to understand it's not going to happen overnight, and it can become quite frustrating. With that note was that this visual kind of dropped into my spirit of this axe, right? And you know, I can go into where the actual visual came in, but this axe of sharpening an axe. And what do I mean by that? I think that we all have a purpose in life. Each and every one of us have a purpose in life. And I think that a lot of us, as I shared before, we're so outcome driven that we forget about the process to get to the outcome. Meaning that we're so focused on, hey, I want to buy the house, but we don't realize that maybe we should be saving now. So when the opportunity does come to buy the house, we're ready to go.
Yeah.
You know, oh, I want to start a new career. Okay. But do you have to go back to school and get the degree so that you can get the career when the opportunity does present itself? So yes, we are outcome driven people, but we also got to learn to embrace the process along the way. And so this visual representation of an axe dropped into my spirit of seeing that people, like, similar to that outcome, we have this outcome of doing something. Let's just say we're chopping down a tree. Let's say we are doing something with this axe. There is a process to sharpening an axe that will help you to be effective with what you want to overall do. But what happened was, I think people grow frustrated in the process is because we're constantly trying to chop down trees, as I like to per se. We're trying to go after goals and dreams with the dull axe, you know, and we haven't spent enough time sharpening our axe. So when the opportunity does come, the tree does present itself, we are ready to chop it down. And I know maybe y'all like, don't chop down the trees. I went to Humboldt State University in the Redwood, so I love the trees. I'm all about, you know, respecting the forest. But that's, for the sake of this analogy, that's what I'm sharing, is that I believe that if many of us spend time sharpening our axe, I'm telling you this, when the opportunity presents itself, we will be ready not just to take advantage of that opportunity, but truly multiply that opportunity that we do have.
Yeah.
So, and that's one of the things that I kind of want to talk about, like sharpening the axe. It sounds nice. I think people understand what I'm talking about. And there's a lot of ways that you can sharpen an axe, but I want to hone in on this for just one moment. One of the ways that you sharpen an axe, as I was researching, is you take a rock, and you take this rock and you use the rough side of the rock to sharpen this axe, so that you begin to rub that rock on the axe to sharpen that axe. I relate that to the process that we all have to go through in life to get to where we want to be at, to truly begin to walk in our purpose.
Sure.
But if we don't clearly look at that process as something that is benefiting us, we'll look at it as something that is meant to inhibit or limit us from accomplishing our purpose. Because there's two sides to everything. Like there's not a one-sided anything. There's always a situation, a failure, a mistake, a system, a problem presents itself. We have one or two ways to look at it. This is going to make me better, or this is going to break me. I share with individuals all the time, we can either have a growth mindset or we can have a fixed mindset. And I connect this when I'm speaking to students. I say, let me ask you a question. Do you prefer to have fixed income, or do you want your money to grow? And they tell me, I want my money to grow. I said, that's what a growth mindset is. A growth mindset is you look at challenges as an opportunity for growth. You don't look at failure as something that's going to break you down. You look at failure as something that you can learn from. We have the ability, as we sharpening our axe, which we're going to talk about in just a moment, that we can look at problems, situations, failures as something that can hold us back or something that can propel us into our destiny and into our purpose. You feel me? You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, do you relate to that in any way?
Yeah, I got some tips on how to sharpen your axe that I wrote down. All right, and go be as you will, however you want to take it. But for me, practicing gratitude is huge.
Wow,
practicing gratitude, right? Creating a personal vision statement.
Before you go to the next one, I thought you were going to stop, but
I
was talking to some. No. I was talking to some individuals about that today. That they did this research and this study. If you get an opportunity, it's called Soul Pancake. They're you can go look at them on YouTube, and they did this whole gratitude research thing, and they were studying. They had these individuals write down someone that they are thankful for, and they wrote this letter to this person. Then they made them get on the phone and actually call this person, and they said, then they retested them. They said that their happiness meter went off the charts just from doing that. And I was sharing with these individuals, I said, it's easy for us to wake up in the morning and think about the things that we have to do that we really don't want to do. And I said, what happens is that becomes, many of you guys have heard my analogy of the weight. It does. It becomes a weight in our life. We go through the motions. We don't want to be in there. I don't want to be in class. I don't want to be at work. I don't want to be in this relationship. Because we constantly have marinated on the negative things that are happening in our life, in and around us. But what happens if we wake up in the morning and we have an attitude of gratitude?
Yeah.
Of being thankful sometimes for just even the most minute thing that we can have. I'm thankful that I woke up this morning. And then of course you have the ones, well, I really didn't want to wake up this morning. I'm just like, well, you're thankful that you have a roof over my head. Well, I really don't have a roof over my head. Well, I'm thankful that I have another day to walk in my purpose because I know that I'm not done yet. And if I'm alive and still breathing, that means that I still have a plan and a purpose for my life. Like there is something that we have to constantly keep telling ourselves. Candace on our last podcast was talking about the mindset.
Yeah.
The mindset is a big thing when we're going after our goals and our dreams. So I love that one that you mentioned about
it was
gratitude.
Probably the best one I had. I don't know why I hit it first, but I just figured
you like it, bam. I'm like,
hit the big one.
Okay.
Yeah, and to me, that is the hardest one that I have on here because it's so easy to, God, I mean, I'll just be real with you. I woke up this morning knowing that I had to come here and do the podcast. I got, helping out with the garage sale with my family, doing something with a surprise birthday party for my future brother-in-law.
Surprise.
Yeah, surprise.
Yeah.
It's too late now, but and then I've got like church stuff in the back of my mind that I'm doing tomorrow. It's just like my weekend is shot already in my mind, and I woke up like, oh man, I have so much to do.
Feeling overwhelmed.
And I didn't even think about what I had written down last night.
Yeah.
And this is, I wrote it down last night.
Yeah.
Like practicing gratitude.
Yeah.
So it's a lot harder than it looks, but if you continue to practice, and really just like it all, like for me, if I'm waking up in the morning with that positive attitude, my day definitely seems a lot easier.
Yeah.
Even if things are thrown at me.
Yeah. What's the next one you got?
So turn pain into purpose.
Pain into purpose.
Turn pain into purpose.
I think that's just goes along. I kind of hit that before you even said it, but I heard one guy said I was listening to him and he started off the question. He said, let me ask you, have you ever seen a one-sided sheet of paper? And you're like, well, no. He's like, what about a one-sided piece of bread? And you're like, no, dude. He was like, things don't have one side.
Yeah.
It's the side you choose to focus on.
Yep.
And I was like, wow.
Boom.
Like so true. I guess I should have researched this before I speak on this, but I heard it said that this guy, he was going on a hike, and while he was hiking, these little stickers kept sticking to him. These from these little thorn bushes that kept sticking to his socks and to his pants. And this is a guy that invented Velcro. So he took from those little stickers, he saw it as like these things that kept sticking to him. And he got the idea and the patent for Velcro, what we have, for today, where some people would have been like, these stupid thorns keep poking me. These thorns keep messing with me. And we would have just been complaining about the thorns. He saw it as an opportunity and invention that has probably made him millions upon, if he patented. I didn't do all the research, but I know we've heard it say turn, lemons into lemonade, but seeing that you can even gain purpose in your pain.
Yep.
Like a relationship breakup. Like sometimes people go, well, what is the purpose of this? Sometimes you might not know right away.
Yeah.
Sometimes it might be a year or 2 years. Sometimes it might be when you find your spouse and then you realize that person wasn't the one. And you're like, wow. Or it also shows you appreciation for things a little bit more, of maybe losing a loved one or going through a difficult time. Now we have this appreciation for the things that we do have. So yes, finding pain and purpose. And that's what I'm able to do when I go out and speak at these schools, is I'm speaking from a pain of when I was that high school student. And even though on the outside, everything was great, I was smiling and not say that I was in hell, but I was struggling with insecurities. I was battling that. And now I'm able to speak to a place and connect and resonate with a lot of individuals that are in that grade level, that age group, and be able to connect with them. I was able to turn my pain into purpose.
Yeah. Yep. So that was two rather. Another one, and you kind of hit this with last week with Candace, but I had wrote down, develop a growth mindset.
Yeah, man, I didn't even read these questions that I was already, but a growth mindset, right? Mindset. Again, I do this this exercise with students, and I actually have them, I start mapping out, but then I have them reflect and I say, which one are you more leaning towards? Because I start off with this. I say, how many of y'all want to make a lot of money? All the hands go up, right? And I say, all right, so I'm going to lay out a few qualities to you guys, and you guys let me know what category you fall under, right? And then so I started laying out these things. You don't like a challenge. Failure defeats you. You don't look for opportunities of growth. You don't have a mentor. You're not self-reflecting, all these different things. And, the kids begin to raise their hands. I said, well, you fall under a fixed mindset. And you know what? Let's transfer that fixed mindset into fixed income, everything, fix. And I said, but many of y'all want the outcome, but yet you don't want to go through the process, right? Yep. But you must begin to a growth mindset. But when I go out and I speak, I call it a champion's mindset. When you look at a lot of champions, whether some of the wonderful championship teams, we look at, we can't dismiss the Los Angeles Lakers and our years that we had. You look at the Michael Jordan era. You look at even Tom Brady and the Patriots. It wasn't that they did not face adversity in the midst of their season. It's not that they didn't have injuries. It wasn't that you might look back now and say Bill Belichick is one of the best coaches and Phil Jackson is one of the best coaches. But sometimes when you're in it, it doesn't seem like that. I guarantee you, if I was to go back and do some research, there was times when they were blaming and say, is this the end of the Bill Belichick era? Is Phil Jackson did he really like? But the thing about it is they didn't allow that stuff to stop them from doing what they needed to do.
Hey, man, look at Baker Mayfield.
I know I just saw that. It was just like, he probably came off this, this excitement, but we'll see. We'll see how that keeps going. Sustainability is the thing that I want to say with Baker Mayfield, but shout out to the Los Angeles Rams, but yeah. Yeah.
Another one I have is give back.
Oh yeah.
This enhances your sense of meaning.
Yeah, it really do.
So give back was another one that I had.
Yeah, that's what I tell people. That's what purpose is all about. It's not, purpose is not just about me. It's not. It's about our opportunity to be able to give back. I tie the connection in because when I am doing these presentations and I speak about money because I realize it gets the students' attention because they're like, he's talking about money. I'm talking about building a business and talking about a t-shirt brand and how you can have all of these different things. And I said, this stuff is not just so you can have more stuff. and you can accumulate more things. I do this exercise where I share with them. I say, listen, you can be rich. It's called Would You Rather. Yep. So let me get the context of it. I go through a series of questions and I show some pictures and I'll say things like, would you rather B-dubs or Wingstop? Would you rather Marvel or DC? And I think I shared this on one of the podcasts of this season. And I get to this one, I say, would you rather be rich and lonely, or would you rather have just enough to meet your needs, but you're able to help other people? And the kids today, when I did this, it was like nobody hands went up for rich and lonely. They said, nah, I'd rather have enough to take care of my needs, but I'll be able to help someone. I'll be able to help my parents. I'll be able, that feeling of being able to give back. That's why we do the podcast.
Yep.
I want to be able to give back. And I realize I can't physically meet everyone, but I can set up a podcast that can be shared, that can be clipped and used for social media. The message of hope and the message of purpose can go out throughout the world. Yeah.
Yeah. I have down as well, spend time with people who inspire you.
Yeah, man.
Be close to the people that inspire you.
Yeah, having a coach or a mentor is key. As we talk about that axe, that hard side of that axe, that bumpy stone of the axe, sometimes having a coach or a mentor or someone that's going to hold you accountable, it don't feel good. Like, it really don't. When we had Candace on and, she's done some meal plans for me, and sometimes those hard conversations that you have to have, and even with, Zim and, my busyness of my life, if you guys don't know, Zimbalist was another guy that we had on the podcast. It's difficult when you have someone that is a coach or someone that's holding you accountable, but you realize the point of a coach is they help to see things, down the road, down the line from now, and they're helping you to get to that place. And sometimes it doesn't feel good because we want to do what's comfortable. But that coach is there telling you, no, you can do another squat. You can do another push-up. Even though your mind is telling you can't, you have someone on the outside telling you you can do this. So I think that coach definitely, iron sharpens iron. And I think that everybody needs that person in their life, not a friend that's going to be like, oh, it's okay. Don't worry. Let's go get some donuts and ice cream. And there are times for that, but that shouldn't be the norm. Like, we should have people in our life that are holding us accountable that says, dude, you tripping. Dude, like, I thought you had goals for this year, and I thought you wasn't going to go back down this slippery slope. You know what? You need to get it together. We need those people in our life.
Yeah. All right, I got like 3 more. 2 of them go hand in hand, though. Practice self-acceptance and take time for self-care. And we've talked about this on season 1 of the podcast.
Yeah. I mean, you can only pour out as much as being poured into you. And a lot of us, we're on empty. We're on E, and I love it. You mentioned one where you're saying taking care of others and helping each other, but the first person you got to take care of is yourself. We got a new shirt that's coming out. I don't even know if I should leak it, but it says fly. First love yourself. Come on now. Fly. You got to stay fly. First love yourself. Oh goodness. We might have to clip that. We might not even use it, but it's coming soon. But yeah, before you can do anything else, you got to first take care of yourself. I use it in my Rally Word of the Week video, which is available. It's important for us with this Rally Word of the Week. I kind of did this whole video series that gives students a word for each week of their school year, and I allow for them to just unpack what one word is. And one of the words is, and forgive me about, I know the analogy, I forgot what word it is, so I do apologize, but it talks about when you're on an airplane and they're going through they're walking you through the process. Oh, this was a self-care thing that I did, right? You remember when I did the self-care video series? And I talked about how they'll tell you that first you must put the oxygen mask on yourself before you can take care of anyone else. So they'll say even parents, you got to make sure to put the oxygen mask on yourself before you go and hand it to your kids. Because what happens is people wind up passing out in the midst of being overwhelmed and they're trying to take care of their kids. And then they wind up not being able to make it because they didn't first put it on themselves. Like, we got to make sure that we are taken care of before we can go and take care of ourselves. And sometimes people are self-medicating by putting themselves in a place to where they're constantly always trying to help each other or help other people out, which I love. But what happens is they're burning the candle at both ends and they're not taking time to replenish. And eventually what's going to happen is you're going to burn out and you're going to get frustrated. You're going to snap on somebody. You're going to disconnect. You're going to isolate yourself and it can avoid you from getting to that place of making sure that you take care of yourself.
I know that feeling too well.
Yeah.
I've been there.
And it's hard. It's hard for us. I know it's hard for me to say no.
Yeah.
But some of us, we got to practice the habit of saying no. even sometimes when we want to say yes. Because I hate saying no to people, but sometimes out of your own sanity, sometimes you just got to say no. Sorry, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. And yeah, people going to look at you sideways, but they ain't looking at you sideways when you say yes and you stressing out and you losing sleep because you trying to help somebody else before you can help your own self out. But yep. Yeah. I'm trying to fix this hydraulic mic. It's like, sorry, I do apologize about that, but go ahead, Rob.
All right, I got my last one right here. And we talked about this a couple podcasts ago. It's actually last
As
season.
He closes the laptop, that means it's about to get serious. Right now.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
Like, here's the last 30 minutes. No, go ahead.
Faith.
Oh,
you got to have whether it's believing in some type of, we don't have to get all religious on us, but you got to have faith to lock in or to grab that purpose.
Yeah.
And I said a couple of months back on one of the episodes, I said it takes faith to get to purpose because purpose isn't found or purpose isn't given, it's discovered.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So got to have that faith in
yourself.
Really do.
You really do. Yeah. Some of us, we have more faith in other things than we have in ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I've been challenged myself with because, as I start looking more into investing, maybe it's real estate, it's stocks, and I'll see like different things on discount, as we say, like oh, Amazon is only $88. Like I'm about to throw this much in Amazon, right? With the belief that Amazon is going to be somewhere in the next 5-10 years, right? But yet we don't have that same type of faith in ourselves to invest in ourselves. Yeah. And we rather throw that money into a hope, a wish, and a prayer instead of the belief and the faith that the God that we serve is going to get us through whatever hurdle that we have in life. Like I'm to a place right now where I'm not going to invest in something more than I invest in myself.
Sure.
And I'm talking about from book reading to building out my business, to my website, to videos that we're putting out, to the time that I'm putting in this podcast. Like I'm to a place right now that we have options, right? I can go sit and watch a movie. There's nothing wrong with watching a movie. Go sit and watch a movie for 3 hours, right? And put money in someone else's pocket. Again, nothing wrong with movies. I love going to the movies. Or I can take the time and record a podcast and put something out. It's not about the revenue stream because we're not making anything from this, but it's now I'm building a brand. I'm building something that is going to live beyond me, that one day when I'm not here, somebody can go back and watch this and be like, man, that Bobo kid was on it. You know what I mean? And that's what it's really about. It's about the faith that not just we have in ourselves, but we have faith that God is going to, one that began a good work in us, is going to see us all the way until completion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, by the way, hang on, I got to back up. You convinced my family to buy bonds for Christmas this year.
I know. So that was another thing. My goodness. I know.
Mom, if you're listening, Apple, at least Apple.
Yeah, because we were sharing right on the last podcast that like we buy these gifts, these meaningless gifts that really hold no value. Yeah. And I was using the example of going back to this Would You Rather game. And I asked the students today, I said, would you rather have a shoe of your choice? Like you can have any shoe that you want, limited edition, whatever it is, quick strike, and these are terminologies for the sneakerheads that are out there. Or I can give you 100 Nike stocks. And it's funny, like there was one kid today that raised his hand and said, give me the shoe. But after I got done explaining to him, he was like, can I take that back? Because I broke it down. I said, well, how much is Nike sock worth right now? And he was like, oh, about $100. So I said, I'll give you 100 of them. I said, how much is that? So he broke it down. He was like, I can buy X amount of those shoes that I wanted with those Nikes. I said, and then you looking at it today. You're not looking at what it's going to be about 5-6 years down the road from now. So that's how my mindset has shifted. I do apologize, Rob, because I know you were looking forward to certain things, and it's like, I know, yeah. But hey, what did that look? I mean, that's what we're doing for our kids. Like, yeah, we're going to buy them a few gifts, but we throwing money into their account. You know what I mean? That's going to be able to compound and gain that interest. And I think that's the conversation we should be really having with our families, is how we can help them when they graduate from high school, how they can go into a place where, yeah, they can get financial aid, but yeah, they can also afford, we got money in the bank to go and just pay for college outright. Yeah. So,
hey, I got a question for you. You got any advice you want to give our listeners for the coming into the new year and the Christmas and anything like that? Or
Man, this is where I'm at. I've been doing, I pulled back from a lot of things recently. People were messaging me and saying, what's, when are you going to record the next podcast? And I saw you haven't spoken at any schools lately. I was really taking the last few months of this year to really just pull back and really just not just get clarity on the vision that I have for my life, but I think that sometimes we can try to do everything and we wind up doing nothing.
Yeah.
And I was just really trying to hone in on where I can be most effective with who I am. Like a lot of my stuff ties in together. You might see it as separate, but for instance, like the shirts that I wear that is legacy, that came from a conversation that I had with an individual, like how we have here today. Everything that I do, I'm talking about legacy. I'm talking about purpose. So we put it on shirts and we put it out there. So that branch kind of stemmed from that mainstream. Going out and speaking at schools, I'm talking to students about purpose. I'm talking to them about going after their goals and their dreams and having a plan and being a leader on their campus and being a person of influence and not just always easily being influenced, and helping them to understand the decisions they make today will determine the results that they see tomorrow. Yeah. So I just really spent the last few months just really trying to build out some systems, because I believe what's coming for Felix Bobo and many of you guys, Unlimited University, My Time, My Moment, it's going to be big. And one of the things that kept resonating with me is like, if the big is coming, how am I going to be able to sustain the big? And I think that some of us, again, are focused on the outcome, but we don't pay too much attention to the details of the process. Yeah. And we can miss out on the outcome because we haven't spent time on really building out the process. So, I have a couple big speaking engagements lined up. And so I was trying to put things in place as far as systems for, being in these rooms and these places to where eventually individuals are going to start reaching out to me and having me to want to come speak at their school or their organization. And I said, what happens if I get 100 phone calls? Like, how am I going to be able to handle that? I can't be everywhere at once. And not saying that I spent time building it, but like I had to have a system in place, from email threads to forms that they can fill out, to identifying exactly what it is that they need, so I can identify, is this something that I want to be a part of? Because I'm in a place right now as I'm growing, I just can't keep hopping. Sure, no problem. Sure, no problem. Sure, no problem. Because what happens is, I'm not taking care of myself. I have a family. Right now, I'm involved. I'm involved in our church. I have a 9-to-5 job. So all these things, if I don't have a system in place, one of those things is going to give way.
Yeah.
And so I really spent some time really building that out. And that's what I would encourage people that are listening to this. If you have big dreams, you have big goals, and I do believe that those dreams and those goals can become a reality. But as much as we are focused on the outcome, we got to spend time on focusing on that process of how you're going to get to that outcome. So I encourage you, however many days we have left before the end of this year, or whenever you're watching this, yes, love the outcome. Love it. But don't be afraid of sharpening your axe in the process, because many of us will spend a lifetime trying to chop down trees with a dull axe, and we'll grow frustrated, we'll get bitter, we'll say, why them? Why not me? It wasn't because it wasn't yours to have. It's because you didn't do what was required in silence. So when the spotlight or the opportunity came, the platform came, you wasn't ready for it. That's one of my mantras. We do what we do in silent because you know what? A lot of times what people see is the outward a part of that, but they didn't see what was done behind the scenes. Can you focus on the behind the scenes before you hit the main stage? I was looking at Steph Curry, and he was there's this recent video of him out like hitting these shots from like the other side of the court. Have you seen it?
I think I grazed at it.
Like he's like hooking these shots from the other side of the court and like nothing but net. And I think he hits like 4 or 5 shots in a row. And a lot of us look on the outside and we're just like, look what Steph Curry's doing, man. That's awesome. That's great. But we didn't see what was done in the dark. the times where maybe he was practicing when everybody else was going home to play video games. We didn't see the times when he was overlooked because many people considered him undersized and they disvalued who he was. And they didn't see that hunger that was created in him to want more. You know, he wasn't even recruited by top universities, you know, and the school that he went to, that he wasn't a big university, and he was able to help that university. I believe I don't know exactly what round they made it to in the dance. It might have been the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight. I don't remember. It was some time ago. But looking at that now, he didn't allow the pain to stop him. As you're going back to your question that you had, no, he allowed the pain to propel him, but he used that as fuel to get him to his purpose and him walking in his destiny. Yeah. So that's one thing I would encourage our listeners is don't allow the pain to stop you. Don't allow the frustration to stop you, the bitterness, the heartbreak, the issues to stop you. Use it to propel you into your destiny, into walking in your purpose. Yep. Anything else, Rob?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head, man.
Well, happy holidays. I don't know when you're watching this, but truly, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your listens, for your downloads, for your shares, for your response, for your voicemails, your text messages that you have sent me. It means the world to me. I don't do it just for the accolades. I do it for the one that's listening to this that says, thank you. I needed that. And I hope you needed what we had for you. We're able to share with you guys today. But until next time, listen, I want you to keep walking in your purpose. No one said it's going to be easy, but I'm telling you this, if you take that step daily, take it daily, you'll look back on your life and be like, wow, look how far I've come. It's your time. It's your moment. It's our time, our moment, my time, my moment. Until next time, peace out.